Okay, thanks for joining us here. This is the second session of the Grafting Your Own Apple Tree, and this is a session where we're going to talk about planting your tree out in the garden. I really stress that these trees go into a garden place close to home where you're going to see them every day. They're going to need a lot of care in the first half of this summer, and you're going to want to tend them regularly. So this is a garden space or a nursery bed at Seed Savers that we use to grow trees on in. It's planted with some clover cover crop that we're using as a green mulch. You can mulch with whatever material you want, but we are transitioning into this living mulch idea. Anyway, your trees have been in storage for a few weeks, and it's time to be planting them out. We like to see them go into the ground about 10 days or so before the frost-free date. And there's a lot of wiggle room there. I'd rather have you put them out a little early if we're going to, like this, it's going to be a cloudy day, a little bit on the cool side, instead of waiting till exactly 10 days and setting them out on an unusually warm, sunny spring day. Because they're coming out of the storage in a really, they've been cool. They've not been drying out at all. So I'm going to show you what I have. I've put them in a bucket to really make sure they're hydrated. These two, they're buds or grafts off the same tree, and they're starting to grow, so they really need to go out into the garden. If they're any farther along than this and we had much of a chance of frost, I might not put them out yet, or I'd protect them some way. If you plant a young tree out and it's got leaves and we get a frost, well, you can damage them then. These are still in bud and they're pretty safe. Some of these others, here's one be very gentle with these because they may not be absolutely attached, but I'm ready to plant these out. I can see a little white callus tissue through that wrapper, the tape we put on them. I don't want to take that tape off. It needs to stay on there. So I'm going to leave them. But I'm seeing white callus tissue through there, so I think they're far enough along. Here's one that's a side graft, and that bud seems to have a little swell to it. That's great. That's kind of a perfect stage to be planting it out. So with that, I think we'll plant one. It's pretty simple process. These are not big roots yet. You don't need a huge hole. You do want the top of the root system below the soil. And so I've dug just a straight wall here and hold this tree against it. Then I'm going to take my soil, crumble it up, and firm it. Now, these trees don't have any leaves on them yet, so watering, I think is kind of up to you. If I were going to plant 100 of these out, I probably wouldn't bother watering them. Our soil is nice and moist yet in this time of year, and there's no leaf pulling moisture out of that plant yet. So I have some water here today, so I'll pour a little on it. Another really nice way to add water slowly is to use a 5-gallon bucket and drill a 1/8 inch hole in one edge of it and let it just trickle. The inside of the bucket has to be really clean or that hole will plug up. But that puts water on extremely slowly. And the water tends to go down into the soil column instead of running out over the surface. Anyway, this tree will now establish new root and start to grow. It's going to, all these buds along the stem of the rootstock are going to sprout and want to grow. It's our job to rub all those off, and then when the buds on the cyanwood start to grow, I'm going to choose one of them, the strongest one, and save that and rub the rest of those off, because we want all the growth to grow out one shoot. With that, enjoy. I hope you have great luck with your grafts.